For years, Tessa Spencer has been dominating the radio market here in Charleston. First with the Breakfuss Club with Tessa and Baby J on Z-93 Jamz, and now with a solo show on Star 99.7. And of course, she's shining here in the mornings on Channel 4 with Tom Crawford and John Bruce. I had a chance to talk with her once again for a special edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. You know, when the last time I interviewed you and Baby J 2 years ago for Quintin's Close-Ups.
Has it been 2 years?
Yeah.
Wow, time flies.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And I love doing this. Love doing the interviews. And you know, the last question I asked you was this: what is the next chapter for you and Baby J? You both basically said you don't know. You later said because the Spirit guides us. We don't have goals.
Right.
Most people have goals or plans. Like, this is where I want to go, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Not to say that we don't. Like, oh man, one day I would like to work in New York City. Those are dots, but we're just guided to certain things. I am pretty sure whatever the next step is going to be pretty exciting. Something pretty exciting is going on right now. You're the co-anchor here at Channel 4.
Yeah.
And you have been doing this for some time.
Oh, you know
now.
what's... So that has happened since the last time we talked. Really?
Because you were a reporter.
Yes, I was reporting that.
Yeah.
And Spirit guided me right into that, and and then Jay's in Columbus doing radio there.
Right.
So a lot has changed since then. So.
Yeah. But life has highs and lows.
It does.
I want to take you back to December 31st.
Okay. Of this past year?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was reading this on Facebook, and my mouth almost dropped. You said this: shout-outs to the driver of the 18-wheeler, I-26 eastbound Dorchester Road this morning. I saw my life flash before my eyes. On the way into work, I drove into a fresh car accident. I almost didn't realize there was a truck facing me in the lane that I was in. I had to swerve to miss large debris and slam the brakes before hitting someone outside of their car and another car. Now that I am at a complete start on the interstate, seconds later, I hear screeching tires. I see my rear view, an 18-wheeler coming due at top speed. The driver managed to snake through the unfolding chaos in true blockbuster movie style.
Yeah.
He could have taken out everybody on the Dorchester Road overpass. Shook, relieved, God kept me. Had I left the house 10 minutes earlier, who knows? Prayers for the person that was ejected from the vehicle. Not a way to end 2013. When all hell really stopped.
It was. Yeah.
I mean, tell me, what was going through your mind?
At that moment, I was thinking, oh my God, when I'm coming to work that early, I'm one of maybe a couple of other cars on the road, early that morning. So, I'm leaving the house. I'm thinking, okay, just another day at work, as we often think before something tragic, God forbid, usually happens. And when I came up on that, I thank God for, being wide awake enough to be reactive. And it's just, I literally, how they say, it sounds a little bit cliche, you see your life flash before you. The first thing I'm thinking about, my boys. I just left them at home. They're asleep. They don't know, what's going on. And so at that moment, I don't even know if I uttered a prayer, but I just felt, protected at work, because it felt like I was in a movie. You hear this, and it snakes through, and it's just like, and it's over, and it's like, what was that?
Yes,
but I'm still here. So, I mean, at that time, I don't think you really have, you kind of freeze that moment in time. You just kind of freeze.
And I remember that time because I was really sick that time for like 2 weeks. I had, stomach aches and headaches and all this stuff. And when I thought about your post, I'm thinking, gosh, because someone told me that after I after I felt better, that God had a better plan for me in 2014.
Right.
Did you feel the same way?
And I always feel that way. I feel every day that I wake up that I'm given another opportunity to walk this earth, that I'm given a chance for God to do great things in my life. And so that's just the way I approach every day. Not that, it's December 31st was end of 1 year. Each day is a new beginning for me.
That's right.
So,
Let's switch gears to something good.
Okay.
You always say this on Facebook, time to tango.
Time to tango,
A lot of people know that you actually do that at the Carolina Dance Sport.
Yeah.
Tell me, at what point did you realize, hey, I want to try that?
I wouldn't say I was kind of thrown into it. I always loved to dance. I love to dance by myself. I put on my headphones. I'm at home. I'm doing my own little music videos. I don't know if you can, Don't picture that in your head. But, I'm always up for a challenge sometimes. And sometimes once I get into it, I'm like, what have I gotten myself into? And sometimes, I rethink myself. But it just gives me an opportunity to know that I can try new things, that I'm not afraid to try new things. And, to be complimented. So, you're doing a great job. Oh, I am? I'm my worst critic. Okay. Especially when it comes to that. And so learning new things really sometimes can be a challenge. But, I have I actually ended up doing the, oh my gosh, not the salsa, not the tango, actually the samba.
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
it was
yes,
the samba.
yes.
We switched it to the samba because the instructor Jamie there at Carolina Dance Force said that tango, you know, that was too old lady for me, and I was more of a samba type chick,
Right.
so that's what we went with.
And before tango, it has been and always will be your first love, which is radio.
Yeah.
Take me back down to memory lane to early 2012 because you began at Apex Broadcasting
Right.
with Baby J. And at the time, you guys were actually co-hosting an afternoon radio show, and now you're actually having your own show.
Right.
Tell me, what was it like to have your own solo show?
You know, and before, my longest stretch of radio was 12 years with Citadel / Cumulus, and I was always part of a duo then, but I had my background before that was almost 5 years of being a midday anchor by myself.
Right.
So after doing it for so long, a part of a team, you kind of feel like that arm is missing.
Yes.
You know, and you're used to having someone finish your sentence. You're used to having someone think another thought for you, and you coming in and tag, and you get kind of lazy in that retrospect. But now being able to do a solo show again, I'm able to find my rhythm of who I am and portray that, you know, for the 4 hours that I'm on. So.
And speaking of team, let's talk about John Bruce and Tom
Yes,
Crawford.
oh, I love those guys.
You co-anchor, you know, Good Morning Charleston with them and Low Country Live.
Yeah.
And you know, it's interesting because John said this about you and Tom in 2012 actually. He says, quote, as far as on air, it is as funny as it looks on TV. All we do is really laugh. We all talk. We're kind of like a family here. We talk during commercial breaks all the time. It's never a dull moment around here. You've worked with them for a while now.
Yeah.
How would you describe them as co-anchors?
I would have to say the same thing. John, I look at as a little brother. Also, you know, I would say in some instances, depending on what we're talking about off air, his mom, you know, but, and Tom, of course, who's a veteran in the business, and I'm equally in between the two of them, you know, age-wise, so I can relate, you know, relate to both, but Tom is that funny guy that, you know, that uncle maybe, you know, you have in your family, or that cool dad, you know, and John, and we just work so well, the different things that we bring to the table, and when we're laughing, I mean, we laugh, the things that we laugh about off air and talk about off air probably couldn't make on air. But you know, but we do have that general, I think, respect for each other, professionally and also personally, and they know, we all kind of know our struggles, you know, each other's struggles. So.
And besides Apex and Channel 4, your love is Nashville.
I do. That's my second hometown, I call it. My oldest son was born there.
Yeah. And when you think of Nashville, what comes to mind?
Family, really. I think that was really the first place that I became a true adult, because before Nashville, I worked in Greenville in the upstate, but I was only 3 hours away from home, so I was still close to my family, my mom. You know, I could drive home in 3 days, but when I moved to Nashville, I was really the furthest away. And for the first month, I slept on my living room floor, even though I had living room furniture, even though I had bedroom furniture, but I felt most comfortable on the floor wrapped up in a blanket. That's just how it was for the, you know, for the whole month. But that was when I really came into my own as an adult and understood, you know, living on my own, that I could make it on my own. Like I said, my oldest son, he was born there, and I made the best friends in my Nashville family in the world. So yeah, the Jones is out there.
And of course, you were a cheerleader there.
Yeah, and I tried that because I'm known to try things just to see if I can do it. And myself and two other young women, we were above what would be the normal age at that time to be an NFL cheerleader. I would think I was 29 at the time, and we were all 29. So I made it just to see if I could do it, and I did. So.
And it was in Nashville where the 2014 Stella Awards were held this year. And of course, everyone knows that you're a voiceover announcer for that. And you also say something on Facebook that is very interesting. You said, quote,
you keep track of everything. Nothing gets past this guy.
I know, exactly. Got a feeling this is going to be a good one.
Yeah.
May I ask, why was the 2014 Stella Awards a good one for you?
Well, let's see. It was the second go-around for it being a live show. So I knew what to expect being a live announcer again. And just knowing that the performers were there, and the show was just great. Sherry Shepard from The View was one of the hosts. One of my good friends, Ricky Smiley, was also a co-host as well. So I knew just the energy, what was going to be there. And then, of course, I knew the people behind the scenes, you know, who were putting it together. So, and then once again, anytime I go to Nashville, it's always a good time because I was able to connect with my Nashville family.
And you're back home.
And back home. And my best friend, she was actually sitting with me in the sound truck next to me while I was doing it there too. So
that is awesome.
So it's always good to give them that experience as well. So.
And speaking of good, let's talk about your two kids.
Oh yeah.
For those who don't know them, describe them.
James and Julian, affectionately known around here at the station as the boys.
Yeah.
They're now 15 and 13. James is a sophomore in high school. Julian is an 8th grader, middle school. And they are the loves of my life. I love them to pieces. I love everything about them. They think I'm the coolest mom ever whenever they need something. But it's, because I never imagined myself as a mother in the first place.
Okay.
And in fact, one of my brothers, not my oldest brother, but he's a couple years older than me, we vowed one day years ago that we would never get married and we would never have children. Well, he went on to get married first, and he had 7 kids.
Wow.
And then I eventually got married and had 2.
Yes.
So in order to look at myself as my life as a whole, to see that I've raised these young men, because it's kind of hard to do that. But I love our conversations. I drop them off to the mall. They talk to me about girl issues. I let them know, look, a girl is going to do this to you, but she doesn't mean anything by this. But so I'm fair. I'm giving them both sides. And I tell them, I said, because I've been a girl. I know what we do and the tricks that we play. So I try to, when push comes to shove. So I kind of, I give them, and they're like, oh, Mom, that is so true. And I start telling them about their friends. Mom, that is so right. That's exactly what she does. I said, I know. I've done it.
Those girls.
So, but I love them to death, and they're great guys. James wants to be a model and actor. Julian wants to be a film director, and he's really been pushing really hard for that. So
that's awesome. They're going to do it.
Well, thank you. If you see that, I'll accept it. I'll accept it. Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you.
You are an anchor reporter here at Channel 4. You're still doing your first love radio.
Yeah.
You're a mother. And of course, he mentions you're going to get engaged soon.
Eventually. Yes.
But looking forward, what can we expect from Tessa Spencer?
I would have to say, in continuation from 2 years ago, whatever God has planned. Because I allow him to use me, to guide me, and I know when it's time to move. And I know when it's time to stay still. But right now, I'm staying still, but I know that he's working. So when it's time to go, I'm not going to question it. I'll be ready. And that's, within any direction, in doing that. So I'm not sure. I do know working each day harder on my craft and getting better and just whatever God has. That's what I have in store, is what he has in store. And I'll let you know.
There you go.
You'll see.
Of course.
When he does it.
That's to make that move. Yes, indeed.
Exactly. So that's the best way I can put it.
Yes. Well, this was good talking to you.
It's over?
I know.
Man, it always goes by so fast.
But you're busy and everything, so I got to get you when I can.
I know, absolutely. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Anytime.
It was good talking to you, Tessa.
It's talking to you too.
Yes.
And you guys too.
Thank you. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. They watch. Thank you. That was good.